But it's more of an insurance protection, not an investment. Cool thing is, if it goes up, cool, you make more money, right? It's awesome. Now, your whole focus going from that point beyond having your reserves, now you have other money to invest. Once you get well over the 150,000 mark, then you start investing for cash flow. That should be your focus. Gold and silver, not so much. I'm not saying you don't buy a little bit more because you might build up your reserves a little bit and build up some of that on the side, but not a lot. Well, once you get to the point where you're saying, now I'm financially independent, I have more than enough money coming in from my investments that I am financially independent. I'm work optional, right? When you're at that point, then you start shifting away from just trying to create cash flowing investments and now start to build wealth. So you move into the next phase. When you start to build wealth, this is when you really start to diversify among different asset classes, not just paper assets like stocks, right? Bitcoin might be the fifth asset class is digital, but it's hard to classify that one quite yet because it's so young. It's like a moody little teenager. You never know how it's going to wake up the next day, right? So it might be really happy one day and then it's really grumpy the next, so it's kind of hard to figure that one out yet. But still, you've got like real estate, we've got business, we've got commodities, like gold and silver, oil or whatever, right? Things like that. So as you start to diversify, now you might start buying a lot more of this stuff, right? You might start buying more gold and silver. You're saying, now I want to preserve my wealth, grow it and preserve it. And then you start to add higher percentages maybe there. I'm not saying, what percentage should be. You might pick 5 or 10% or whatever it might be. But now you're starting to say, I don't need the cash flow anymore. Now I'm financially independent and I'll keep building that income too as the time goes on. I'll keep compounding my income. But I'm also now going to start investing in other things that are just growth focused, which is what precious metals are. They're not cash flowing investments. They're just, in fact, some people probably have too much of their gold and silver or Bitcoin and probably should sell it and invest that into cash flowing investments to create more financial freedom versus just looking at a computer screen saying, oh, I'm worth a lot. But then the next day they're not, right? Which is what happened with one of my clients who literally was saying, man, my Bitcoin IRA is up to 220,000. That was when it was at 115,000. Now it's like at 90,000. He's like, man, now it's worth like 170, 160, like that's just not cool, so you don't really make money in those things until you sell, right? So just be careful of that stuff.
Yeah, you have to be an early buyer. It sounds like everybody that I know that has really made money on crypto, it was because they bought it when it was basically pennies. And so now they're, rolling in it, thinking that they can retire and all this stuff. But it's hard to even use it. Like, how do you even buy a house? I mean, it's becoming a possibility, I guess. It's just very difficult. And a lot of people don't really believe in it still. So
Well,
it's
that's
hard.
that's my prediction is that you're going to see a lot of people that did put a lot of money in Bitcoin, just like people are doing with their home equity right now, is that as things get tighter financially, they're going to start cashing the Bitcoin, right? Which of course
True.
does this to your Bitcoin value, right? So are you going to be on the early end of bailing out or the late end? Just depends, That's what typically happens. And that's why I wait for that stuff.